The Utah Jazz did it again. This time against the San Antonio Spurs, which is always, not necessarily the biggest cakewalk of any team because they don't tend to get blown out, but they are a team that's not as good as other NBA teams have been reasonably placed to be. We saw Lowry give us 31 and 12, so that is always something to be happy about if you are a Utah Jazz fan. If you're not a Utah Jazz fan, well, then you probably didn't enjoy watching it as much as we did. With that being said, Jordan Clarkson had another phenomenal game off of the bench. And Keyonte George returned from injury, scoring him double figures. What's up, Logic? Yeah, man. How'd you feel about the game, Logic? For me personally, it was a pretty. It got tight in the third quarter, which made me a little bit uncomfortable, but then we stretched things back out like we needed to. So I can't roast but so hard because at the end of the day, the job was done and the win was secured. Tay, and what's up, my man? And look at us now, 5 games under 500, which is honestly pretty manageable considering what the enjoyable turmoil we've experienced along the way. There's been a lot of other teams that have been particularly worse than us, and this is roughly out of the Spurs, and just more so out of us, honestly, because there were a lot of situations that, especially early on in the season, where lineups were getting run that I felt shouldn't have been run, or people were giving the opportunity to prove themselves when we've seen enough of them. And so the team wasn't as competitive as they probably, in theory, should have for the talent level that we had. But it was nice to finally see over really the past 8-ish, 10-ish games. I can't remember how far back my brain wants to go, but just to see everybody like string things together and not just be a team that wins a lot of games, but be a team that can be competitive even in losses. Because before, those were just honestly egregious. Those were just way over the top. What's up, Ryan? Must you got caught up with some other things. Like, hey, nothing wrong with that, man. First things first, hope you're having Merry Christmas. Of course, man. It's holiday season. I mean, I was working most of the day, but yeah, as you can see now, it's still good, though. It's still good. We said we won 6 of our last 8, and we own the Pelicans and Miami. Ain't nothing. I don't know. Miami is a force to be reckoned with. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're not going to be a cakewalk team. It also depends on who's healthy for them and their lineups because that can make the biggest difference, honestly, for any team. We've been a very good example of this, and just playing guys in the right roles. That said, I love our chances against the Pelicans specifically. Obviously, waxing them on a back to back isn't the best thing only, but overall, it's still pretty reliable. And I believe that by and large, we'll be able to do it again, amongst other things. We're really competitive enough to be a middle tier team in the league, in my opinion. We're about a 500 club, maybe 42 and 40. At the way that we're playing right now, this in my head was what I imagined when I thought before the season started, looking at the talent level of everybody, expecting people to take the next step, and honestly, just the expectation for the rookies being accounted into everything. They seemed like a slightly above 500 squad. So starting out the season, when it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games under 500, that's egregiously bad, and honestly, just something I had never anticipated. The losses made sense, but to the degree, especially on the road, those were just the worst parts. He said Markkanen owns Wemby. Wemby only played 24 minutes too. That was a very interesting choice by them. But he is returning from injury, so I mean, I have to understand it to a certain extent, right? That's the biggest thing. Other stories in this one. Let's see. Jordan Clarkson had another good game off the bench. I did not look at his efficiency though, but I would assume it was still good because he was coming off the bench. So much so that he actually got a minute longer of play time than Sexton did. Sexton obviously played decently enough, but most of his damage came in the first half, where I believe he had 18. No. At halftime, did he have 18 out of his 20 then? He was like 8 of 10 from the field, I believe. whatever the case may have been, he did most of his damage in the first half. The fourth quarter was owned by the likes of Clarkson, Lowry, and just the rest of the guys getting themselves involved. So that's always something to appreciate. Lee, what's up, man? He said, uploading video, so my network connection sucks right now, but I wanted to hop on and say what's up. Yes, sir. Definitely needed this win. Definitely needed it. He said his efficiency was not great, actually, but he got to the line and got other guys in foul trouble. In reference to Clarkson, Tayton, is that in 6 rebounds? Oh, okay, so yeah, that is Clarkson. Never mind. What did he shoot from the field? I think if I go check right now on my phone, it'll close me out of my live. I think it did that to me last time. But yeah, the 6 rebounds, 8 assists are also really significant, especially considering the fact that he's been given more of an opportunity to just do other things, but not being required to do other things. I think in the beginning of the season, that was a big mistake that the coaching staff made. You saw a guy that was a 6-man of the year in the past and felt like he should be able to, at the very least, do that same thing at the starting level. And when you gave him those minutes, it didn't really pan out that way. Naturally, that was continued on and on and on across the first 19 games of this season until they finally, after an injury, brought him back. 7 of 17. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Efficiency is iffy right there. Colin Sexton has had a couple of those games recently. He actually had a 6 of 17, I believe, 2 games ago. But yeah, that ballpark. Nevertheless, Lowry ended up taking more shots than him, so that's always a good thing. Getting him 17 shots off the bench is crazy, though. But he played 27 minutes, so it makes sense that that was able to happen. By and large, there were a lot of positive things to see in this one. The Spurs are a scrappy team. Everybody looks at the Spurs and says, oh, they're so terrible, they're so bad. But the Spurs don't really get blown out by anybody. They're always roughly in competition with a lot of teams. They end up losing by 4 points, 6 points, 8 points. It's not very often that they get clapped, just in any particular match. So I think their record is obviously worse than advertised because they're definitely not as bad as the record should indicate, which is why I would still consider this one to be a quality win, all things considered, because these are ones you have to win convincingly, and they managed to do it. He said Keyonte had a couple turnovers. It's like, bro, what are you doing? It was his first game back, though. But you're right, Tayton. Keyonte was obviously rough. Honestly, they played him a little bit more than I thought they were going to play him. Maybe that's crazy. But for somebody that hasn't been in a game in what, 8-ish, 10-ish matches now? Like, most of the time that Colin Sexton has been good, he hasn't played. So, I mean, with that in mind, he is a rookie. This is like his first time coming back from an injury period at this level. So, everything comes with time. And I don't think this was a terrible day for him, even by his standards. I don't think his shooting was actually that poor either. But him coming off the bench and, what's his name? Chris Dunn getting the start made sense to me. Obviously, Chris Dunn didn't get a lot of minutes down the stretch of the game, but he still ended up having 2 points, 7 boards, 8 assists, something like that. Six. It was 6 rebounds and 7 assists the last time I checked. What's up, Money? Yeah, it was an interesting game, and we can appreciate that though. It's another storyline was a potentially interesting one. THT is available today, yet he did not play. Interesting. Something to keep an eye on. But THT was pretty solid in the last game that he played, which begs the question, why didn't he get to play in this one? Now, admittedly, obviously, this was the Spurs. I guess you could say similarly to when we played the Pistons and what do you think? The Pistons, when Lowry didn't play in that game, it was so many people were saying that we were going to get clapped and the streak was going to end and the Pistons were going to finally catch a W. And it's like, okay, the Jazz, for one, aren't that bad, even without Larry Markkanen. And given the opportunity for Colin Sexton to be that guy on offense that time around, he was going to take advantage of it. So I threw me for a loop. But, yeah, definitely made sense this time around at least, just to see how everything was going to pan out. Dunn played the amount of minutes I said he should all season. Is the thing is, it's not hard to find minutes for Chris. It kind of is, I guess. The guard room is kind of packed, but at the same time, it should not be difficult to find minutes for Chris Dunn because he's more of a table setting kind of guard. He's not a go out and give you 18 points. He's not a go out and give you 20 points. He's a consistent player that's going to make consistent plays. He's not going to be heavily turnover prone. He's also not going to give you a lot of points, like I said. But on a team that has Larry Markkanen, who's more reliant on having a table setter or just having other people that rely on ball movement, it makes sense to have him play because guess what? He's going to move the ball. Why? Because his primary goal isn't going out and trying to give everybody 20. You know what I'm saying? Just made sense. Jordan, what's up, man? Jazz looking better as of late. Yup. 6 of the last 8. This is the Jazz team that I was expecting from the beginning of the season. It's the one that made the most sense. Honestly, to me, it was preferred that they came out this way, but with the lineups that were run, it's no wonder they ended up in the hole that they ended up in. But we're only 5 games out of 500, right? So that's a really consistent um it's a really comfortable. I'll say it's comfortable. It's comfortable waters to be in if you're a Utah Jazz fan, because this is the type of Jazz team you want to see. You know you're not going to win every game. You know you're going to be outmatched talent wise, skill wise, coaching wise in certain matchups. But you don't want to see your team actually get just demolished on the road every single time and then play like they have Jesus's blessing on every home game. Like that's not the general appeal of everything. But this past stretch of about 8-ish to 10-ish games has been pretty solid, all things considered. And they find themselves back into a position to where they don't just look like a basketball team; they look like an NBA team, a team that should be in the league, that should have. He said Larry won't play any back to backs because of his hamstring. Yeah, that does make sense. We will definitely be wary of that going forward. Just small things. Plus, there's no need to just overstrain him. I was thinking about it, and I do like the idea that um, in Danny Ainge's eyes, everybody was tradable, or at the very least, he was willing to entertain deals that would allow people to get traded. I didn't particularly think that a lot of certain people are particularly tradable in the sense that I didn't expect, like, I never expected Lowry to actually get traded. I still don't to this point in time. But it would not surprise me that they just, every now and then test the waters and see what everybody's value is worth because you never know. Somebody might surprise and it might be a pretty penny that somebody's willing to pay to get a certain guy. And under that context, it makes sense to go ahead and at the very least test the waters and see how everybody's doing. He said I was hoping the Pelicans game would go to like 5 OTs so they'd be more tired than that. Let's see. Tech today, John asleep. Just wanted to make a stream W game. Yes, sir. What's up, Tyson? Glad to see you popping in on us, man. Yeah, overall, pretty content with what we saw from the team. Not a lot to actually be mad about. The guys all did their job. You can appreciate when everybody's pretty much on the same page. Taylor Hendricks did not see the floor today, if memory serves me right, um, which is not something that I expect to be a long-term issue for the Jazz, but at the same time, it's something to keep in mind because a lot of people were like, "Oh, he finally played. He's going to be a consistent guy on the rotation now." It's like, no, he played because of injury. That said, he still showed flashes of what he could potentially be. We need him to be a little bit more. We need him more involved on offense. I'm not going to say he specifically needs to be more of a threat, but we just need him to be more involved on the offensive side of the ball, which takes a little bit of scheming. And with a couple trades in which I guess John Collins gets offloaded, those minutes will become more available to him. I don't think we'll see like 30 minutes from Taylor Hendricks anytime soon on a consistent basis, but I think we will, after the trade deadline, see 15, 18, 20-ish, something pretty solid and respectable across the board. So there's nothing to really um, be worried about in my mind from that standpoint. So just a thought. So they have to figure out what are Lowry's true primary and secondary positions. So they have to figure out they'll build rotations and a roster down the line. Fair. Oh, you play like 2 minutes in the end. I checked it. Did he have anything in those 2 minutes, or was it garbage time? Because I saw at the end of the third, and then we were yet to put him in. But I wasn't as, I guess, in tune in the fourth quarter because we finally stretched things out. Like in the third quarter, when we were up like, what was it, 76, 72 at one point? Or no. Or was it 80, 76? Something like that. I was like, dear God. And I got a little bit concerned. But things panned out pretty okay. Said garbage time. Ew. Nasty minutes. Not to say that some guy, like, minutes are minutes at the end of the day. But everybody doesn't respect garbage time minutes and everybody doesn't appreciate it. And sometimes, I don't know. But yeah, that's not a good gauge of whatever he's going to be capable of. Garbage time minutes are more of a Luka Samanic type of thing because he doesn't really crack the rotation very often, but whenever he gets the opportunity, he's going to get his shots up, absolutely, without a doubt. With that being said, was there anything else that stood out to you guys as any particularly interesting developments? You said he looked aggressive. I would like to hope so. I think the biggest thing that you can see from Taylor Hendricks right now is perhaps he doesn't feast on any out of any particular NBA lineup, right? But I would like to think that against the lower half of the bench, he looks more dominant, more in control, more patient, more willing to not necessarily just make mistakes, but more willing to get shots up and take control of situations when he feels like he's physically capable of doing so. Because he really has, in my mind, his peak, right? And this is going to be crazy to say. I understand that before I say it. His peak is going to be Kawhi Leonard. That's not saying that he's going to be Kawhi Leonard, right? But I think he has the physical intangibles and the defensive versatility that will allow him to do that if he so chooses. And, I don't want to come back to this video and be like, dang, I really believed in him and he didn't have it in him. Like, that would actually be like kind of sad. But a lot of things, it also comes down to scheme, just how we play him, what kind of minutes he ends up getting, what his assignments are going to be on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, and things of that nature. But overall, I believe that he has the ability to do more than just be a lock on defense, as some people seem to believe he is. 3 shots in 2 minutes? Hey, that's good. That's good. Said Kessler had a 3 minute period where he was unstoppable and then he disappeared until he hit the three. Yeah. First Walker three in a minute, by the way, as well. He just has to be willing to. I don't know with Walker. Like I need to start doing a little bit of a deep dive into some just maybe it's injury reports or stuff. I don't know what the information is saying, but or as to like why he's off the bench, just like what seems to be a mainstay now, because it's not like he's missing games and then coming back in on the bench and then gets hurt again or re-aggravates something and then like that's not what's happening because he's been playing in game after game after game, but he always plays like roughly 20 minutes and it's always off the bench, which coming into his sophomore season, there was a slump and there was a potential ascension to his game. To me, a slump would have been if you were scoring a lot of points and now it's taking you a minute to reach that same level of success now that every team has tape of you. To me, you should not regress in a rebounding defensive effort kind of standpoint. And it seemed like that was kind of happening. But then I realized it was also more so the scheme and the type of zone we were running, because the zone we were running at the beginning of the season was god awful for everybody. Well, not everybody, but it exposed THT for not being able to be a particularly great zone defender. And then it also put not Lowry, it put Walker Kessler in very uncomfortable situations that he wasn't able to capitalize on and just look the best in. Side note, he has one of the largest dips in opponent field goal percentage, but it's on a lower number of shot attempts than Rudy Gobert by a comfortable margin. I have the chart saved somewhere. I wanted to do a video on it, but I need to find the specific numbers. I'm going to use StatsMuse to help me do it. Let me see. What's up, Kuzi? I think he's off the bench just because coach is trying to figure out the rest. I can see that. Fair. Wait, chat. What's up with the Rubio video? Wait, what happened, Kuzi? Oh, is he going to Utah? Realistically, I think it's a little bit of a shot in the dark. Even while I was recording it, I felt like it was a little bit of a shot in the dark. But the thing about Ricky Rubio, if he was to return, I don't think he would be required to do much, because it's not like we need him to play, right? Chris Dunn is an effective passer in my eyes. But if you want somebody that's going to be a true table setter and teach the ways of the pure point guard game to Keyonte, I don't think there's a better person than Ricky Rubio. He was on the Jazz during two of their more significant seasons, right, where we were 48 plus wins. What was it, 2017 through 2019? And so he's been there when it was a winning culture. Obviously, the system was different under, Quinn Snyder and whatnot, but it's still a winning Jazz team that was spearheaded by him, amongst obviously the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell duo. But he was an integral piece to that. So if you want somebody to be a proper table setter, there's really no better teacher than, for one, a European guy, because they pass the ball a lot more. That's why their stats look less impressive, I guess, by NBA casual eyes. But also because he's Ricky freaking Rubio. Like, his shooting percentages are always south of like 43% because he passes all the time. And it just, honestly, his shot making isn't that particularly great, but that's not the point of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? That said, I think that it makes the most sense if we could bring him in, just more so as a locker room glue kind of guy that, he's not going to be the same since his injury. That's honestly, in my eyes, impossible. If he did manage to somehow pull something off, I would be genuinely impressed. But regardless, I don't think we need him to come out and give us, a triple double. We really just need him for the development of the younger guys. Obviously, Bryce Sensabaugh is trying to tap into his playmaking. That's what he got sent to the G League for. And more frequently, Keyonte George, even coming back from injury, you want him to be able to be an even more effective passer. When he first came into the season, there was that stretch of like 3, 4, 5 games where he was having 10 assists, 1 turnover, 7 assists, 1 turnover, 8 assists, 2 turnovers, and then it just kind of tapered off. So you want something that can like shore that up for you. Said Kessler was so good defensively. I was proud of him today. I love him. I have to get complain. He doesn't go up and dunk it a lot. He tries to get too fancy. Sometimes it's just go up and dunk. And today he was dunking. Yes, sir. Let's see. Not too never liked Rubio. Yes, I was interested. Thoughts of potential Lowry trade to OKC. Lowry's on the trade block. OKC is the team that can offer the most for him. So if any deal is going to get entertained, it has to be the OKC one. The issue is you play OKC pretty consistently. They're in your conference. So when you do eventually become a peak team, they're still going to be around because they are a young team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the core member of that team, and he's the reason why that engine goes as it does. Now, trust me, if I was OKC and I could get Larry Markkanen alongside Chet and everybody else, I'd be feeling pretty darn good. But if you're the Utah Jazz, I don't think you make that trade because you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that trade later on when you play against him, for one. And for two, you're going to end up having to now find a 1 and a 2 star-wise for your team. You're going to have to create a duo now. as opposed to having a pseudo one who's really a two that loves your city and is going to allow you to find your one to pair alongside him. His voice annoys me in a stupid commercial where he makes a cat noise. I'm weak. Freddie, what's up, man? Yeah, 1.2. It's good numbers. It's good numbers. I need my impressions on my videos to go up a little bit. I need to find out what I can add to my game. I said add to my game like I'm in the league. Add to my videos to make them just a little bit more um impressive for people. Like I know everybody's not a Utah Jazz fan. I understand that. But for the Utah Jazz fans that are out there, if the Utah Jazz channel has, 105, I think they have like 120 now subscribers, 120,000. Um, might I get 10K, 15, 20? I think I should be able to create content that resonates roughly with all Utah Jazz fans, even if they don't watch it all the time, if that makes sense. That Lowry trade is still a rumor because the asking price is too high for everyone. Yeah. A genius idea. We trade Lowry to Thunder for 4 picks, then pick him back up in free agency next year. You think they would do that? I think that you don't. I think that if it was premeditated and they let Lowry know, that would be actually like the most disgusting thing of all time. Just trade him over there. Lowry's acting like he's going to resign, and then just in free agency signs back with the other team. Insane fleece. They would have to create a clause against that in the rule book. Yeah. Yep. Where are you driving? Oh, I'm in Charlotte right now at work. Yep, just on my patrol. One of these sites actually has what do you call it? It's an hour-long patrol. It's a pretty big apartment complex, but you just drive around, make sure nobody's stealing anything. And it's raining today, and criminals don't like when it rains, just like normal people don't like when it rains. So they stay out of people's cars. And I love that for me because that makes my life just a little bit easier because I don't have to worry about any detours or calling the police because, incident reports and whatnot. He said you let teams know the parameters are while having Lowry, not lose confidence or even boost confidence because you're setting on him. Exactly. I'm in agreement with that. Walker and Keyonte are the duo to be. You think so? I need to see more from Walker because, like, the issue. Hold on. Let me read the rest of these real quick, and then I'll get back to that. There's no timeline. It's whatever they feel will put them in the best position to be a contender. True, but with all the pieces that you have in play and all the draft picks you have, you're really looking at in the next 5 years, you want to be a comfortable playoff team. In the next 8 years, you would be hoping to be a contender because even if you say, like, let's say they pick Keyonte George and Walker Kessler to be those key pieces, those boys are basically 20 now. So 2021. So you're hoping that at the very least, by the time they're about to be 30 or hitting 30, you're a genuine contender by that time. Otherwise, the assets that you brought along with them just were relatively pointless, meaning that everything that you did up to that point was not worth doing. That's the only issue. Zach, what's up, man? That Sexton self-lob had me questioning my straightness. Not gonna lie, boys, that was sexy. Oh, that was funny. Yes, and Lowry's about to be in his prime. Yeah, they plan on waiting that long. Exactly, if they plan on waiting that long. True. I'm sure I'm late to say it, but y'all make sure you smash that like. Yes, sir. You already know. Zach. But going back to what Kuzi said about Walker and Keyonte duo being the duo. This is my issue with that duo right now. I love both of the players. Let me go ahead and say that, right? I enjoy Keyonte. I think his playstyle could use a little bit of growth. But by and large, I'm more enamored with, what's his name? With Walker Kessler. That being said, Kessler's biggest issue is finishing at the rim, which is problematic considering his size and the fact that most of his shots literally come at the rim. He's gotten a little bit better at being willing to take that long ball, even if it misses, right? We don't mind that it misses, but we need him to be willing to take it because if you screen at the top of the key, or you come up out of the paint and you screen and you're Walker Kessler, if you are not liable or capable of shooting a jumper and hitting it at a decent enough margin, the big's just going to sink in the paint every time. And that doesn't help your offensive repertoire at all. In that same note, obviously Keyonte George needs to become a little bit better of a playmaker, a little bit more consistent with his decision making, but that comes with time, right? He's a rookie. Understandable. Walker Kessler's the solution to his game is easy. Dunk the ball, strong finishes, add a little bit of weight to your frame. A little bit of muscle specifically, not just weight. That's a little bit easier to deal with than, say, it was with Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, again, an elite shot blocker, affected a lot of people's ability to just properly, finish inside the paint. But at the same time, he was a little bit awkward in his motions and movements. That's something you can't really train out of a guy because that's just who he is. Even now you see him in Minnesota. He's really solid cleaning up the rim. He's having a defensive player of the year candidate type year, but his fluidity in motion just always seems so off to me. It's kind of like if you were to create an animatronic and have it imitate human motions. It's very human-like, but it's just something missing. You can't put your finger on it. But yeah, not that I hate the duo. I just think I think there's something missing from that duo. You see, wouldn't be the best to just keep rebuilding and stack up on draft picks like the Orlando Magic. Yeah, I'd agree. Though the Magic did finally find one. I'm not gonna lie. They said Paolo's looking like young LeBron. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that boy's kind of tough. That Frenchman is tough. He said, man, I love Walker, but I struggle thinking he's a long-term number two. I don't think he is. That's the thing. If he's our fourth best player at any point, we'll be real good. Yeah. If you can move him all the way down to your fourth best player, even Walker Kessler right now, if you put him on a contending team and he's your fourth best player, you feel good, right? Imagine Walker Kessler a little bit stronger, finishing at the rim, and, shooting 34, 35% from three on 1.7 to 2.2 attempts a game, right? That means if he pops out, you have to respect the jumper because it is liable to go in. That said, I wouldn't want him as a two. Now, if you have that version of Walker as your fourth best player on your team, and he's still a lockdown that he is on defense, you're pretty darn dangerous. Puts point blank, period. There's nothing else you can say about that. You're gonna be dangerous. You say you don't have to be the first or second option to even be the best player on your team. That option conversation is a bit overstated. Dwight been in the finals twice as the best player, but the third option. I don't know. The second time, yeah. The second time, yeah. But the first time, Orlando Dwight, if he wasn't first option, who's first option? Obviously, he required a table setter. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying Dwight Howard was point forward because he absolutely was not. Paolo is really good, yeah. I'd say, well, Kessler is anywhere near that. He's not. True. What are the Warriors going to do at the trade deadline? Are they really going to just let it ride? I can't see them going anywhere higher than the first round exit. And they are so old, each year talent will drop. I understand that. I think, I'm not going to lie, Money, I can't agree with you with Rashard Lewis and Turkoglu being the first and second option. I see your that said, I do see your frame of reference, but I would say despite Dwight needing them to table set for him, he was the main attraction. On offense, if you take Dwight Howard off of that team, they're significantly worse than if you were to remove Turkoglu and leave Dwight and Rashard Lewis, or take off Rashard Lewis and leave Dwight Turkoglu. So, and that's my frame of reference when I think of first, second, and so on and options. Like, one could argue that LeBron should not be, in theory, the number one option on the Lakers. But to me, he still is, because if you take LeBron off the Lakers right now and he doesn't play, their ceiling is significantly lower than if AD doesn't play. And significantly might be a little bit marginally. I'm going to say marginally, because the impact that AD has been having defensively as he's been healthy and just being consistent in his minutes has been like chef's kiss. It's been what we've been waiting on, honestly, because it's been way too darn long since, people were sitting there saying, when AD's healthy, that kind of thing. But yeah. With that being said, you said, I think in that frame of reference, I would stick and still say Dwight was the main attraction, because the magic, I think of options as, who do we do worse as if somebody gets hurt? And I think Dwight was the biggest catalyst for their ability to be successful. So in that sense, I view him as that first option. But I do understand your point of view on that one. So I don't want to just sit there and say, "Oh no, you're crazy. What are you talking about?" Because no, I do see your point of view on that. The Warriors though, did y'all see that Kaminga said, "When I have the ball in my hands, I feel like nobody can guard me." I don't know if that was a cherry picked quote or like what, but that was just crazy coming from him, because, brother, no. Brother, no, I don't think anybody sees Kaminga with the ball in his hands and says, "Hey, he might give me 20 today. He might give me 25. He might give me 30, bro. I'm not going to lie. I don't think I can stay in front of this guy." I don't think anybody thinks that. I'm not going to lie. I think Pat Williams has a higher ceiling career-wise than Kaminga does. Not to say that Kaminga's trash, but that's a crazy quote coming from a guy that doesn't play like the quote. Like, he doesn't play. Like, if you sat there and put a list of quotes on there, and you said, "I just do what my team needs me to do in order to win," and then that quote, I'm picking the first one. I'm assuming he's being capable of being a utility guy. I don't think he thinks he's that guy. Like, that just caught me all the way off guard. I was like, wait, you think you're him? You think you're him? Prove it. What are we talking about? Prove it. I haven't seen it though. Like Jokic, Shea, Luka, Embiid, Giannis, etc. Yeah, Curry too. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, bro. We've been spoiled. We've been so spoiled. Like, thinking about how great LeBron is insane. But when you take into account, we've also been able to experience LeBron going against the greatest. I'm willing to argue that Curry might be the greatest point guard of all time. For this reason, you said Kaminga equals Kai Jones, long lost twin. I'm not gonna lie. You might be cooking with that one, Tate. You might be cooking with that one, brother. Because which one is really the better out of the two? That said, when Curry said he felt like he was the greatest point guard of all time, I didn't think he was crazy for saying it. I know a lot of people said that he was, and said, "Oh, Magic was better. Magic won more chips. Magic was a big key piece and like part of the Showtime Lakers." I get it. But Magic was not the system. He was a big cog in the machine, but the machine was not Magic Johnson and company, in my personal opinion. Even looking back at the tape, it never looked that way to me. When you think of the Warriors cannot win without Stephen Curry. In the regular season, forget the playoffs. They can't win in the regular season. Steve Kerr's, and part of it is coaching. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there, because Steve Kerr was given it was like you took a solid bodybuilder and sent him to a specific gym and said, "Yeah, you're going to work out with this trainer. He's going to get you right." And Steve Kerr was that trainer. He just sat there and pumped him with steroids. The Warriors were already tough. He just pumped him with steroids, put the system so that Curry could show his team his skills maximized. That said, to me, Curry is the only small guard, unless you want to go like Isaiah Thomas with the Pistons. But even then, they were like more of a win by committee thing. It wasn't a Isaiah Thomas show. He's really the only. He was the system. He was effectively the LeBron for the Warriors. And not to say that, oh, he was just the best player. No. Their system works because of Curry. You can't take any other point guard in the league and tell them to do what Curry has done and have the team win and just do the exact same job. He's not replaceable. So in that sense, that puts him in a different light to me. And when I really started thinking about it in that sense, it kind of makes sense that he would be the kind of guy that would say he thinks he's the best point guard of all time. Because in that light, I think it's arguable. Does he have the same accolades as some guys? Of course not. But at the same time, I don't think he was crazy for saying it. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think he was crazy. Let me see. But yeah, we're saying the same thing essentially. I believe in whoever has the most gravity is the best offensive player, but the way people view first option and second option is who's the shot creator. Okay, money. Yeah, okay. Oh, I got you. For sure. Yeah. I think one of the only rare exceptions of somebody saying like first, second option is probably when they talk about Shaq, because obviously Shaq had table setters. He had the Penny Hardaways, he had the Kobe Bryants, but his thing was always when he went to the Lakers, they saw him as the main attraction and Kobe was the sidekick, even though Kobe would have to table set for Shaq. A weird thing, but I guess that just spoke to how dominant he was, honestly, as a player. And respect to Shaq, obviously. He said the Pistons breaking the record. Oh, they broke it? Did they break it? They've now have the longest losing streak. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. That would suck. Imagine being Cade Cunningham and thinking you're coming to a team that's bad, but thinking that you can make them better. Thinking that you can be the catalyst and the reason why they become a better team. And y'all become iconically known as one of the worst teams to ever pick up a basketball, to ever lace them up, touch the hardwood at the NBA level. 2 more games in an all-time streak. Bro, I'm not going to lie. They can't let that happen. That would be a situation where I would expect the player to start acting like Draymond's been acting on the Warriors. Because there's no way I'm going to keep losing and taking it. He said K's literally 2018 Bron on that team. Honestly, except he can't buy a W. Yeah, it's like every game he's 2018 Bron against the Warriors because he can't get anything. And it's like a lot of their games, they're not getting absolutely like mollywopped in them. They're just getting beat. And that's tough. You said it's not even like they're tanking. Bro, it's nasty. They might actually have to sell the team. You know how mad that is to say about somebody? That they might actually have to sell their team? That's crazy. But it's also reality at this point. Haven't been able to join it lately. Just wanted to say tonight was good. Congrats on 1K for being a nice holiday. Yes, sir, Dan. I saw your comments. I'm gonna reply to your comments under the videos, the Walker Kessler one, the year 7 one. I did see. I just didn't have the time to respond. Well, the Pistons play the Celtics next, so that's Jesus. Who do they play after that? You said I was watching the game. The team is just cooked. Like everyone doesn't know what they're doing. They play uber hard every game. Honestly, just get beat. Like that's terrible. Anthony Black had a career night tonight. We might have screwed up not taking him. Really? What do you have tonight? They don't have shooting, so they don't get the lucky spurts like other teams. Yeah. Yeah, that floor spacing is an MFer. And I think it's really the first time ever where floor spacing has ever like come off to me as like a really big issue for anybody ever. Like floor spacing, yeah, we get it. You want to have shooters. You don't want to be a team that's ground bound and has to attack downhill all the time. You want to have the opportunity to kick the ball out or do a drive and kick situation or just run a pick and pop or something of that sort of thing. Understandable. We get it. It's old as time itself. But when you actually see it, that's when things hit a little bit different. Cause it's like, holy crap, these brothers dunk or lay it up, they're cooked, and they are. It's not even possible to have their current record on 2K Hall of Fame. 23 points, 9 of 13 shooting, 4 of 6 from 3. Ooh, that is very tantalizing. What did Stephen A. Smith say? Oh, all that length, you're gonna get me salivating. Yeah, that's those are some pretty nice numbers if I do say so myself. Tried to trade up for the 5th pick, but the Pistons won the 9th and 16th pick. Nothing less. Yeah, that's nasty. Blazers just blew out the Kings. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't trade up either. How the heck did they blow? Who did not play on the Kings? That's what I need to know. And did Scoot finally decide that he wanted to be um, the guy that they thought they were drafting? Is that what happened? I'm guessing that De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis both said Keegan Murray played like normal Keegan Murray instead of like Keegan Murray against the Utah Jazz, because apparently we deserved for him to put career highs on us in almost every statistical category. Go figure. Always something for us. Everyone played. Everyone played. Fox had 43 and Sabonis had 34, and they still lost. Wait, so did they? What was the score? What was the score though? Because you said they got blown out. Blown out is crazy. I could see them losing in a close game. That would be tough, but still. What? 130 to 113 is absolutely, that's terrible. That's actually scary. Who did it? Who gave them that? If De'Aaron had 43 and DeMontis had 34, who was the catalyst? Did they have 3 30-point scores on the other team? Did dominating finally happen? So what starters went off then? Anthony Simons had 29. So who were the other big pieces then? Simons had 29. Scoot had 17. Brogdon had 19. Some random had 9. Some random had 19. And Grant had 13. Scoot had 17 and 11 off the bench. Every dog has its day. And I guess the Trailblazers just stole the Pistons' day. I think that's what happened. I think the basketball god said, only one of you guys can have a respectable day today. And I am picking not the other guys. That's actually nasty. That's so nasty. Me personally, I'm not letting that slide. But De'Aaron literally did everything he could. I mean, 43 is crazy. I understand it's a scoring league and everything, but 43 points will always be 43 points. And I know De'Aaron Fox didn't get 20 free throws. That's the other thing. So, yeah, that's actually like scary. And only 5. They had no help? Bro, that's terrible. That's terrible. Man, I'm taking everybody else's game checks then, except the bench warmers, because all they do is sit on the bench and support me anyways. They can keep their checks. But yeah, Keegan Murray, cough it up, buddy. It's mine now. Malik Monk, bro, you're supposed to be twin for real. Give me your money. I'm robbing you. It's over. You messed up the bag. 3 for 11. Would I consider that a sell for him? I mean, that is like 20. That's what, 29%. Yeah, that's a bad game. Yeah, that's not good. Keegan was 2 for 11. What, these boys was getting strapped, and they were just taking it like that. Me personally, I could never. I mean, go off if they do, but not me. Not me. Yeah, that's nasty. Sabonis was 14 of 19, 16 of 26, bro. Golly, fight for my fucking life. That's terrible. That's actually like disgusting. Wait, can y'all hear me now? Can y'all hear me? Let me know. Oh, it's good now. Okay, cool, cool. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, that's actually terrible. Sun's melting down is kind of funny though. Not gonna lie. I called it, Dan. I called it, bro. At the beginning of the season, when my channel was getting narrowed down and I was trying to decide what teams I really wanted to cover, I said, the Suns took to my video because I said Bol going to be the next KD. And, because he got buried on the depth chart, it is what it is. But they also have, what's his name? My brain's selling on me right now. They had all these pieces, and they kept saying all the Suns fans in the video comment section were telling me, "You don't know what you're talking about. They're gonna be tough. They have people to play defense for them. You don't need to worry about their defense." Shut up, punk. I was right. That's what I got out of the interactions. I was right. Wraith was right again. Again. Because depth, I said defense, depth, and in their injuries were going to be their biggest downfalls. Then I had to make another video because they picked up a bunch of guys in free agency. I was like, I like these deals. So the depth issue has been addressed. That's why Bol's not playing and why my video now makes no sense. But then you keep going, and it's like, okay, cool. They still Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. None of the three are elite defenders. None of them have defense as their calling card, right? So that's still going to be an issue. And they're still injury prone. And I made that chart. I had Sachin build that chart of how many games they've missed recently. And they still sat there in the comment sections and told me I didn't know what I was talking about. They said I was the madman. Now look at us. Well, look at them, injured. It's almost like I made a video with charts and everything. Oh wait, I did. Nah, I make it sound like I hate the Suns. I don't hate the Suns. I just did not like their fans in my comment section because I really wanted to cover the Suns too. Fun fact: this channel was supposed to be a split between Utah Jazz and Phoenix Suns content until they told me I didn't know what I was talking about, and one of them had the audacity to tell me or to say I must not watch the games because in the playoffs last year, Devin Booker was an elite defender. And then he cited the fact that he averaged an above average number of steals. Well, anybody that's not a casual and understands basketball understands Steals don't make you, having a lot of steals doesn't make you a great defender. It does increase the likelihood of you probably being a plus defender, but having a lot of steals doesn't mean you're a great defender. I then proceeded to say, well, according to your argument, I didn't even have to look far. I said, according to your argument, you know, that means that the one and only James Harden was an elite defender in last year's playoffs because he averaged the same number of steals in one more game. Oh my God! But you're not going to say James Harden is a elite defender, are you? So where does that bring us? To you admitting that you're wrong. And the jokes write themselves sometimes, and I just talk about how correct I was. But like when I predicted Dame going to Milwaukee, will forever be like the biggest highlight of my sports take career. I kid you not, because I made the video and the file got corrupted, so I had to record it again the next day. I edited it that same day and put it up, and I set the drop time for noon. And when the video went up at noon, the trade went down at like 2 p.m. So I get done with my day. I look at my phone and it says, "Damn, no." Are we good again? Yeah, it's doing it again. It's doing it again. Is it back? Or is it still doing the thing again? All right, we're back. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, gentlemen. Um, yeah, yeah. Let me go ahead and start this next one real quick. And then I'm back with y'all boys. All right, cool. I'm not supporting the Suns right now. Shake my head. I know KD didn't want Beal just because he's already dealt with in that situation. No bench. True. Vogel sucks. Partially, yes. Bench sucks. The crazy thing is the bench. Y'all have one of the deepest benches in the league. Um, Two good players once again, just like last year. Yep. Nurkic was a good defender. The Blazers would have went further. Yeah, I would agree with that. They aren't big enough. Interesting. Also, I know no one was there to hear me, but I called it. The Bucks are not better with Dame. Yeah, it cost them too much, and they didn't make other positives. Imagine if we had Drew instead of Beal. That might be tough. That might actually be tough then, Kuzi. Kelly Olynyk had 4 stakes against the Pistons. Therefore, Kelly Olynyk, defensive player of the year. Speaking about Harden, predicted Dame to Milwaukee. Yes, sir. He's hooping. My video's still up. Yeah, if you go back and look, if you go, Dallin, what's up, man? Dame in Milwaukee was also like in the cards because they needed shooting. Okay, cool. Yeah, they definitely did. The issue was they gave up, honestly, one of their most integral pieces to their success in the process. And you can't really place him, the one and only Drew Holiday, as easy as I thought they could, because you're expecting that Dame can be at his peak and not be a liability on defense long enough to reap the benefits of a improved offensive output. Fun fact, it didn't happen. Or connect to internet, please. Okay. Yeah. that a cat? No, that's a rock. Um, damn it, Milwaukee. Where are we? I'm doing pretty good aside from the fact that I'm at work, but sometimes you need the money, buddy. Yep. Grown man things. One day, when I make full time income from all my emails, it'll hit different. I promise. Side note: it's a fire pool. One thing about doing mobile security is like you get to see a bunch of different people's places. Not that I have the money to live in any of these places, but it's nice to see like what everybody else has going on. Back to the task at hand, though. If only Dame was a good defender. Yeah, if Dame was a good defender, you know how disgusting it would be. But they had to nerf him somehow. The basketball gods couldn't give him everything. And perfect health? No, unacceptable. Take it, take one and pet. Was it? Take one and pass it on. There's a limit to. You said Andre Drummond had 24 and 25 and a win against the Hawks on 86. Hold on. No, I did not know. You said Andre Drummond, the Andre Drummond, the one that they call the empty stat merchant, had 24 points and 25 boards against the Hawks. That's what you're telling me. That's what you're telling me right now. This has just been a weird day. Goodness. That's. I don't know if I should be surprised, impressed. I don't know what my reaction to that should be. Because what the heck? Oh, you said in 2023. I'm about to say today? Right now, today? Yeah, it's just a curious situation all around, I'll say. Oh, yes, today? I don't understand it. The math is not mathing. He just decided to pull out a virtuoso Andre Drummond game. How many times do we expect to hear that at any point in our lives? Literally never. But he did it. Shout out that man Andre Drummond though. People hate on him too much. If realistically speaking, if Andre Drummond played in like the '90s, you know how tough he would have been. How much they would have talked about him, or Jalil Okafor. Remember that guy back when he was part of the process? Yeah, those were the days. Now we have foul bait Embiid and who else? That's really it. Oh, yeah, Tyrese. They have Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey is tough, man. Like I can't explain how tough he actually is because I didn't realize he was that tough. Like I knew he was good, but he's been better than good. And it's hard to be better than good. You said Vooch was injured? Ah, gave him that chance. Gotta go to bed. Glad I could stop by work. Had me trapped in my government facility with Wi-Fi blockers. It sucked. Dang. Company time later, dudes. I appreciate you being able to have the time for us, though, Dan. Get some rest, buddy. Weirdest season, man. We had DeAndre Jordan 20 ball a month ago. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. When DeAndre Jordan had his 20 point and it was back, it gave me Lob City flashbacks and I almost cried that night. Like Lob City might have been peak basketball for me. Like from an excitement standpoint, like yes, I love threes. Yes, I love ankle breakers. Yes, I love Kyrie Irving. But bro, something about Chris Paul throwing the ball above the rim and letting Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan catch it and just punch in some unsuspecting civilian's mouth. Couldn't beat it, man. Prime basketball, man. When teams are going to realize they need a Drummond type of player. Well, most of them believe they can do it without him. They think the league has evolved to a point where he's complete. I don't like that. Now, one thing I will say, if his free throw percentage was up, man, I would say that it would be hard to not find him a home, right? Because like, oh, he has empty stats. He can give you 20 and 20 and not affect the game. And that was the first time I ever heard that, and it pissed me off so much because it was low key accurate. Because it'd been for sure, for sure, for sure. Let me start driving so this thing stops doing stuff. Yeah, man. The NBA this year has been interesting. I believe that there's a lot to be had, a lot to be said. He said he was an all-star at a time when there weren't a need for guys like him. Now there's bigs all over the league. Now he's rendered useless when teams are shooting 50% three. That's the thing, man. That's the thing, man. And it sucks. I feel bad for players like him specifically because the league really changed underneath his feet and he did nothing wrong. Like he his skill set just doesn't convert to wins anymore. That's the sad thing. Like imagine you're really great at something. You did everything your coaches always told you to, and this is the end result. This is the finished product of you. And then you get to the league and everybody's like, you know what, buddy? I'm not gonna lie. You're really, 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 really good at what you do. But me personally, I just don't use it anymore. Bye bye. And they send him packing and they play him like he's mid. Oh, that's crazy. But that's just the reality of it now. There's really nothing out there for him these days. And it sucks. Because he did his job. It just didn't pan out the way that he hoped it would. I guess he's on the short list of players where I wouldn't say he deserves a ring, right? But I would be happy if he won a ring, kind of deal. Because Andre Drummond he's not even a bag. Oh, somebody left their light on in their car. You're gonna hate that in the morning when what do you call it? When you go to turn your car on and it doesn't start, buddy. That's tough. But I don't know who you are. Yeah. He said the league going back to offensive rebounding, so we'll see if he got after ridiculous. Yeah. Imagine him in Boston. They could have used him, honestly. 11 rebounds. Yeah. People don't. Andre Jones is just one of those guys where it's a big what if because we'll never really know what could have been. I said it like he was like he like. And the craziest thing is like there's some players where it's like, dang, I wish we knew what he could have done if he was healthy. Andre Drummond's issue was never health. The league just changed underneath his feet and nobody wanted him anymore. That's the saddest case. Um, I've seen the 90s. Yeah, bro, he would have been tough. He would have been tough, brother. Can't teach it. You can't. You just can't teach it. Honestly, he just got like his 41st 20 and 20 game. Crazy. People will never understand how insane that is. It's kind of like how Russell Westbrook made triple doubles seem average. Just seem like another day at the office. People really want to play and act like anybody can do that. Everybody can't do. Everybody's not cut to do that, buddy. Hate to tell you. Hate to tell you. You said, is it a good thing that the Bulls still have him, but he should start more? Yeah, that's fair. Um, it was the he's not a shot blocker. He goes for 20 rebounds. Yeah. Yup. Bingo. Bingo, bingo, bingo. Everyone is no vertical paint protector. True. He said, thoughts on the Christmas games? Honestly, I didn't hate them. Curry, I didn't realize how rough Curry's been historically in Christmas games. Like, I remember him playing it a lot, but like when all those things drop and it's like players with the highest Christmas Day scoring totals, Curry's never on there. And I was like, oh, why is that? And then I found out why that is. He shoots like hot dog water in those situations, which was unexpected, but it happens to the best of us. Not me though, just Curry. You said like Luka dropping 15 dimes on the Suns. Yeah, that was kind of wild. The mic'd up conversation with him and Devin Booker, where Devin says, "Congrats on having your daughter." Man, to them boys. Buddy leaned down and just stared at him. He's a dog. He's an animal. What else can you say? They don't make him like that no more. Not at all. Not at all. Luke was going nuts. Absolutely. Aisha Curry must be doing something to that man before Christmas. Oh, he's getting that Christmas time appreciation before the game. Doing as good wives do. Or maybe she's poisoning his food before the game so that way he doesn't play good and all the girls watching the games on Christmas Day aren't attracted to him. Maybe that's what it is. Just kidding. Bro been on bully since he was 16. Oh, for sure. The fact that he's like the comparison between him and Jason Tatum, and people will still have the audacity to say Jason Tatum is better than Luca. Hate to tell you, buddy. I don't even think Jason Tatum thinks Jason Tatum is better than Luca. Need I say more? Need I say more? Probably in conversation this year. He probably won't win it, of course, but he should definitely be in it because I did not see the Mavs being anywhere as close to as good as they are. Obviously, he's not the only reason, but he's a pretty darn big one for it. For sure, for sure. Jason Tatum isn't top 10. Borderline top 10, 7 to 10. Still bad. Just, yeah. Not, I don't rag to you guys about Jason Tatum, but I'm not the biggest Jason Tatum believer ever since they were like the whole remember, he's only 19. He's only 19. Like those were it was cute and all, but be for real. Be for real. And to this point, I don't think that he does that many things in the game better than Luca, except for defense. Maybe mid range. I don't remember what Luca's mid range percentages are. But 3 point, Luca. Playmaking, Luca. Leadership, Luca. All that, Luca. To me, it's not even a debatable conversation, realistically. Beautifully put together lineup. True. That they do. That they do. Said he's allowed to do BS because of it. Yeah. Yeah. It's just how you say one of those things. just one of those things. I'm not going to fool me because of team success. Yeah, for sure. hmm But yeah, man, definitely went live for a lot longer than I figured I would. But that was good though. Everybody was a lot more guys popped out this time than last time, so that was enjoyable. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And we enjoyed a Utah Jazz W in the process, which is always a good thing. It seemed we finally had our turn to catch a couple of those, so I definitely love that for us. With that being said, thank you guys for tuning into the live stream. Make sure to like the video if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Turn on those post notifications so you know when the videos drop, and become a member to get the videos faster than anybody else. The next video in the vault that is going to be dropping as soon as Sachi finishes it, by the way, will be, is it Taylor Horton Tucker? Yeah, I dropped Ricky Rubio today, so in the next 2 days, expect a Taylor Horton Tucker video. It's going to be a short little 5-minute one, but got to sing his praises while we can, because I didn't expect him to perform as well as he has recently. Obviously, despite not playing today, after his injury and everything, just that whole sort of thing. But with that being said, and if all hearts are clear, good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you are on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning into the live stream, gentlemen, and I'll get you guys in the next one. Peace. Enjoy your holidays. I'll see y'all Thursday.